There should be a great live and kicking tonight, boys. It's the Big Man Show.
Yeah, Rene Kick and Big Mick Nolan.
And I can't wait to meet former world heavyweight champion George Foreman.
And Portia de Rossi.
From Ally McBeal. Yeah.
I thought this was supposed to be the Big Men Show. Kidding.
Sweet 16s, here I come, baby! Yeah, that's party, that's 1969, yeah, baby! Right, touch me on, baby! Yeah, baby! Oh, behave! Hey, Shagwell, one more time. Hey, everybody, get on the floor and dance. Yeah, baby! Jump up to it, give yourself a chance. Makes me horny, baby, yeah. Oh, shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Shake your booty. Oh, shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Shake your booty. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Come on. Ali, baby. Yeah, give it to me. Come on. You're an animal, yeah. Oh, baby, yeah. Oh, shagadella, baby. Yeah, baby. Hey, baby. Shagga looks at us, baby. Right. All right. Yeah, shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Shake your booty. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Shake your booty. Ow, shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Shake your booty. Give it to me, baby, yeah. Shake, shake, shake. Makes me horny, baby. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Yeah, baby.
Oh, yeah. Very good. Rare that you get stuck for words before you start. A little bit of Austin Powers, a.k.a. Captain Spaulding, right off the top. It is a big night in Melbourne tonight, the premiere of Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. And if that's anything to go on, it's going to be a beauty. We'll catch up with a couple of regulars, Tanya Zayeda and Damien Oliver, out there a little bit later on, find out what they thought of the show. Also, I think there's a few footballers that got along to that, and we'll have a chat to them as well. Now, well, it was going to be a big man show, but let's face it, guys, it's just turned into a big show, hasn't it? I mean, some of the biggest names we've ever had on Live and Kicking. What about Ally McBeal star Portia de Rossi? Doesn't get any better than that. Yes, Portia in the green room getting ready for a fun night. And it doesn't get much bigger than this fellow. Former world heavyweight boxing champion of the world, George Foreman. And Big George is starting behind the grill tonight. What are you up to, George?
I'm grilling, baby. Knocking out the fat.
Should be talking with my mouth full.
Cook a good snack.
I'll tell you what, Jay. I won't say no to George. He said, Dougie, take one. I'll take 6 for you.
And of course, George, you're in town to promote this wondrous new George Foreman lean, mean grilling machine.
That's right. It knocks out the fat. And it's all about educating all of my fans to follow me into the next millennium. I'll probably be champ of the world again.
Champ of the world again at 80.
Yeah, that's right, 50. Or 51, I've forgotten now.
You got no wrinkles, mate.
You're actually a little bit too pretty in the face for someone that's been in the game for so long.
Yeah, I'll take all the compliments you give me.
George, you became champ in 1973, is that right?
1973 when I defeated Joe Frazier.
And what are your memories from that fight?
All I can remember is that I was surely afraid of Joe Frazier.
Well, it doesn't look like you're too afraid here, George. You are beating the living crap out of the poor
I'm thinking if I don't get him down quick, he's going to jump up and get me.
Oh, well, I don't know. He's not
George,
getting up
why did
after
they
that.
take fights like this out of America? What was the ideal? Because they don't do it anymore.
Well, it was then the world started bidding on boxing matches. It was the old Madison Square Garden. You get what they offer you. Then all of a sudden, these big fights were taken to other countries, wanted to introduce themselves. They said, why not Jamaica? Then horribly what happened in Africa.
Well, speaking of Africa, I mean, we've all seen When We Were Kings, the rumble in the jungle in Zaire, and you took on Muhammad Ali, the famous rope-a-dope tactic. And, I mean, look, this is one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. And was it very well done, the movie? I mean, was it factually reported?
I hated the movie. They said when we were kings, I call it when I was a fool. The rope-a-dope. See, he lays on the rope, and I'm the big dope that keeps punching until I get tired.
And in the show, we actually see him taunting you a lot verbally. What was he saying to you?
About the 7th round, when I thought I had him whipped, I hit him in the stomach. He said, "Is that all you got, George?" And I said,
you knew you were in trouble?
Yep. That was about all I had.
The people of Zaire feature in that film amazing. They you know, the chants they go on with. Were they sort of the day of the fight, were they an inspiration or just the noise that was behind the whole day?
I didn't mind, at that point in my career, nothing bothered me. I just wanted to get in the ring, knock him out, and get my money and go home. It just didn't happen like that.
Just
Did
looking
you
at
get your
highlights.
money, mate? That's what I wanted to
I did get my money.
George, looking at highlights, 2 world titles. You came back years later to beat Michael Moorer. But in 1968, I think you only had probably 18 amateur fights. You've come out, you won a gold medal in Mexico in 1968. What did that mean to you, stand there and wave your flag? I mean, one of the first athletes to do that.
1968, I was a teenager. Never dreamed of anything like this. Now, all of a sudden, I'm standing on the platform, winning a gold medal. The one thing you want to do is assure everyone, hey, I'm from America, look. And it was interpreted as a protest, anti-protest, but I was just a happy teenager. And when any athlete get a chance to represent his country, it's the proudest moment of your life, isn't that right?
Bigger than when you won the World Championship?
Oh, bigger. A 19-year-old boy representing your country, nothing is even second to it.
So,
The
George,
professional was about paying bills, you know. That money got to come in.
you've been fighting for 30 years. What keeps you going now?
Sausages, by the looks of it.
You know, I have 9 kids.
9 kids.
9 children.
Now, before you go on, George, you've got
George.
to tell us. You've got to tell us. What are the boys called? 4 boys?
No, 4 boys. They're all named George. Well, in boxing, you got to save money for when you're not boxing, and you also got to prepare for memory loss. So it's best that you name everybody George.
Girls' names, George?
I got Georgetta, Frida George.
Georgina? Georgette?
It's getting out of hand, believe me.
George, back in your days, there's some great heavyweights going around. You had Ali, you had Frazier, you had Holmes, you had Norton, and of course yourself. It's very hard to probably rate the heavyweights now. How would you rate the guys like now, the Holyfields, the Lewises, and then, of course, Mike Tyson
Well,
in your day?
Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, they could have existed in any era. They're just that good.
And speaking of Mike Tyson, you've actually come out and said you're keen to fight him.
Yeah, he's gotten out of jail. Can you imagine getting out of jail and they're saying, you're free. George Foreman is waiting on you.
He's going back in.
Yeah, he's like, I got to hurry back and get arrested.
George, what did you think of his tactics when he, you know, that classical bite of the year? I mean, is that below the belt, obviously?
Boy, wasn't that horrible? You know, I've never seen it yet. Whenever they seem to replay it or something, I hide my face, like now.
Look at it, George.
Certain things I just can't handle. I think that was probably the worst thing that ever happened in sports.
You know when you're in the ring, mate, and you're giving it your all, do you ever think, God, what am I doing here? Can I get out? Can I escape?
Yeah, it's kind of like
You ever want to get in? Or?
it's kind of like Australian football. You think, how do I get out of this?
I'll tell you, George,
But you got to run with the ball, right?
Just keep your hands up, mate, and throw it out.
I've did a bit of research here. The night you lost to Ali, 20 years later, you take Michael Moorer and you win the world title. In football, I've always had a mouth guard for 15 years. Is it true that you wore the same shorts that you boxed against Ali 20 years later against Moorer?
Yeah, you know what? These trunks were written on them. Made for George Foreman, heavyweight champ of the world. So I kept wearing that series to think, hey, I never looked at myself as anything other than a champion. So I kept wearing the same old trunks.
The old trunks.
Now,
Old
Dougie,
trunks.
I know you've done plenty of
20-year-old
research.
trunks.
There was something else you'd found out about George as
Well,
well.
the other one too, George. Now, I've done a bit more research here. Now, my mail tells me that George Foreman, this is unbelievable, this, when I heard this, fought 5 blokes in the one night. That is true?
That is true. After losing to Muhammad Ali, I just couldn't believe it. I had to prove to the world I'm still the strongest man alive. I kept thinking like that. I fought 5 guys. I don't know why I did
So
it.
how long
many
after the
knockout?
fight was that? How long after the Ali fight?
Less than a year later, I just wanted to show the world, hey, something had to have gone wrong in Africa.
So you went through 5 of them in one
Muhammad's
night?
5 in one night?
5 in
Beat
one
them
night.
all?
How many knockouts?
I won them all. I had about 2 knockouts, I think.
And the rest went the distance?
The rest went to
3
distance.
fights in the same night went the distance?
Yeah.
12 rounds?
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. And this is the man who's combining boxing career now as also a non-denominational preacher. There are a couple of interesting careers that don't exactly go hand in hand, are they?
All right, can I get an amen?
I'm with you, George.
And what about Aussie rules, George? You mentioned Aussie rules before. Have you followed it at all?
Yeah, in the United States, we got the National Football. They televise them in with the Fox. Hope that's not your competition.
No, that's okay.
They bring in the football, and we get a chance to educate ourselves. Some of the tremendous and greatest athletes of all time running that ball. They never get tired.
Yeah, we
keep
do.
Yes, I
going.
do. Yeah.
They never act like it. I keep thinking they're going to faint. And then they say they're going to play next week. It's
Mate,
impossible.
is it true you broke for Geelong? I just
I
adopted you.
don't think so. I don't think so, Johnny.
These are the most tremendously conditioned athletes in the world. And how they take the injuries and keep getting up is unbelievable. We all love the sports in the United States.
Well, we all eat
certainly
sausages.
do.
So.
He's done some wonderful things in the ring. Now he's devoting most of his time to the community. It's been a great occasion spending time with George Foreman. Please thank him.
Behind you, George.
We'll take a quick break and we'll check out the opening of Austin Powers when we return. Also, we'll catch up with an Aussie superstar, Portia de Rossi.
Another generation do something like this. We're a man closer to 50, 60 than he is to 20 and 19. Show the whole world by going toe-to-toe, and the young man is holding on to his breath, and we keep going. Boy, I tell you, what is happening to the world? All senior citizens around the world can be proud of themselves. Hip, hip, hooray!
The advent of the grill.
Did you
it
invent-
knocks
you-
out the fat. You don't have to broil, take a chance on burning your fingers in the oven.
Yeah.
It's clean. Your wife is wife-friendly.
I read in your I read in your blog that you lost something like over 100 pounds.
Yeah, I was had gone up to 315 pounds, and to really get down and impress the promoters, I had to lose all the way down to 29 pounds.
But why
That's
don't they
a
have
lot.
like a heavyweight champion of the world?
Yeah.
You know?
I was him.
Overweight champion.
It's super heavyweight. I was the super heavyweight, but they needed to know I was serious. So, but I wasn't going to give up the protein and the good nutritious food like fish and burgers and things of that nature. So the grill saved
Did
me.
they approach you with this in mind? or?
No, I think I approached the world with a hamburger in mind. I'd not met one that I didn't love.
Yeah.
But the idea that I wanted to do something at home, and you don't want to mess up the kitchen like most of us fellows do.
You seem to
This
be,
grill keeps you friendly.
You seem to be a kind of guy with lots of ideas, because I was reading. You have raised lions and tigers. You have done so many things.
So you can cook them? Is that
You know what? I was a bad man in my original career. I was truly bad. When all the other heavyweight champions had Dobermans or German Shepherds, I had a lion and a tiger.
Yep.
I didn't want. They want the dogs to bite people. I wanted my animals to eat people.
How does it work, George?
Well, the most important thing you notice is pretty, so it fits on the cabinet. Every family should be has a little drip tray.
Oh, yeah.
And what's good about it? It's extremely hot at this moment.
Yeah.
When the
Oh,
light
you're gonna
comes on,
Oh, yeah.
and you see the lines there to hold the food from not falling off, but it's slanted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and it's cooking on both sides, so it's almost microwave fast.
It's got your autograph on it
There you
here.
You can't see it.
Great.
You sign off on it, and
Yes.
you see, and it's really a
sexy-looking
pretty
thing.
piece
Have you
of,
signed every one of those individually?
Well, it's my signature. I'm not like that anymore.
Tommy's really tough. You know what I mean?
He's really tough.
Yeah.
But it's just the ideal piece of equipment if you want to cook cleanly and quickly. In the nighttime, sometimes I want some prime rib beef.
Yeah,
and I want it quick, and you know it takes a family a few hours to do that in the early part of the day. But with this grill, you just slice it, put it on in a few minutes. You're eating.
Did you?
Yeah, let's show you some of the things.
He's going to cook for us.
Make a hamburger. I'd love one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some,
Oh, here
some
we
of
go.
my recipes
Will
from
I
the
open it up?
Kate, please.
yeah from the cookbook.
Okay.
In case you know about that. I'm just gonna buy one of these
Sit back.
cookbooks.
You can sell anything you want, George.
But the idea is it's
What, and
It's
just
the
shut the lid
burgers.
on them.
It's sizzling.
It's a bit like a sandwich maker, but
Yeah, it's like the Breville we have.
Breville,
out here.
I love about the simplicity. If you want the fat to drain off, you just build something that's at an angle.
That's true. But it's
like
not so
simple.
easy.
It's funny.
It's not so easy. This is done with a lot of scientific knowledge.
The reality is, in your career, you would have made a few faces into hamburgers.
And I've had the favor returned a few times. Yeah. But you just put your burgers in and you sit there and it does the work. And at home, the average guy, you know, he's looking for the wife to come in and do everything. But once you get a grill, you become the father and like, Dad, what do you got there? It makes the chef out of
But you've
anyone.
just got to get one of those aprons with the breasts on them.
dear.
You gotta watch this guy.
I'm going to get out of your way.
And it fits. You know, you put a steak with bones on it, and it moves the hinges there.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about lifting it up.
And how long does it take to cook your burger?
Well, you sit there, and it depends. You know, it's heated, so it's ideal for even restaurants. So the heat. You want to make sure meat is cooked fairly well.
And we are getting some fat dripping away now.
We are. Here comes the fat.
I can see some smoke coming out. Is that supposed to happen?
Yeah, you know, you want to see the smoke, but the wonderful thing about it, the smokes go and it's not burning up everything. This can happen nice in the
Ask
chef.
you know how you said in your previous career you were bad? You're a bad man. Do you think you were bad?
Oh, certainly.
Like in your heart, you were bad? Were you angry?
You know,
people,
when originally I was a boxer, and most guys would look at guys and stare them down, but I would look at them like a trophy, like I want to take this guy here at home or something. So I stopped boxing in '77 because I only knew how to pursue it in that fashion. I'm a preacher now, you see.
Yeah.
Can I get an amen? Well, anyway, I had to change up everything, and so I had another approach to boxing. With my brother Roy and I started a youth center, and we wanted to teach kids how to stay out of trouble, teach them boxing and never a shot in anger. I started teaching them, and in return, I learned myself that I could really box again. Right. I don't need all that anger, no killer instincts. Is
it hard to study that and then still go into the ring to fight?
Not at all. It's very easy. It's a honorable profession. I mean, it's the granddaddy of tennis, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, they call it the noble sport, don't they? Is
it's a noble sport.
Yeah, noble. And
but realistically, you want to get out there and it's a sport. You have no intentions of maiming or hurting anyone. You just want to be in shape.
You still box now?
Sure. I am 50. And I became heavyweight champ of the world the second time at 45, and was named by the AP the athlete of the year, not the boxer of the year, but an athlete. And I think I'm the standard bearer for the next millennium. As we go into the new century, it's George Foreman. Phil it.
Go.
They say I'm 50, but this is only about 20. But this grill will take us into the next century. You see, you get a chance to look at the grill marks right there.
Yes.
And your meat.
Authentic grill.
See, that's all the fat. If they built McDonald's on a slope, this would same principle. You do very well, wouldn't you?
Just a little fact about McDonald's. I heard the other day that the reason why McDonald's have pickles in them is to stop them from being listed as confectionery.
Really? Sure, is that right?
Well, you know that the buns on their order forms, buns are actually in the confectionery column.
Can you drive past the McDonald's these days, George, and not stop in for a quick McFeast?
Oh, I can't imagine.
No interest.
I said, no, I can't do it.
It's tough to resist, isn't it?
I've got to, you said that in reality, when you went into every fight, you were scared. You were a mean man, but it still scared you to step into the ring.
There's nothing more fearful than getting into the ring with Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, Kenny Norton. Evander Holyfield. And no matter how brave you are, once though, I defeated the whole thing about fear. I was not going to be afraid of anyone. I prayed for this and asked for this for years. I get into the ring with Muhammad Ali. I'm not even worried about it. Like a cakewalk. Like a cat, I'm going to just do everything. I lost the fight.
Yeah.
From that point on, I decided I better search for fear.
Yes.
All I can say is that the outfit that you wore when you were fighting him, you were splendid.
Yeah.
You were so much more handsome than he was.
Floor. Dirty up my splendid trunk.
I've got to ask you about Joe Frazier. Was he called Smoking Joe because he used to burn his hamburgers? Is that, I mean, with his grill? How was Joe?
You know what, Joe was called smoking because when the bell would ring, he'd come out smoking. I mean, he was throwing his head and throwing punches, and there was no way to stop him. He frightened me. I remember thinking, and as a boxer, you're supposed to stare your opponent down. Don't look down. He knows that you're afraid. So I stared him down. I was hoping, don't drop your head, Frazier. You're going to see my knees shake.
Oh, right.
I was afraid. You go up to the canvas and your knees are shaking uncontrollably.
And do you still see those guys now? I mean, Joe Frazier.
We've become great friends. Muhammad Ali, a lovely guy. He's the greatest.
He's amazing.
Can I ask you, you hit very hard, as we all know, but who do you reckon hits the hardest? I mean, but